Yes, Spurs fans, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur here. This is going to be your members fan call-in show. Please, everybody, do take a look at the link. It is on the YouTube homepage. Look in the post section. You should find the link for all the fan show members and above. And come on and have a chat with us. We already have a decently busy back end full of people that, by the looks of things, have come with their own topics, despite maybe my attempt at trying to stir the fan base a little bit here by talking about Bentancur and Vicario. From what I can tell on the Twitter sphere, on the social media sphere, they don't seem to be the fan favorites at the moment. If anything, they almost be becoming the scapegoats, if not of the fan base. But maybe it's justified. So I'd be curious to see what people have to say. We also have some conversations to have about Mathys Tel, whether he needs to be given another start against Aston Villa, against over Richarlison by Thomas Frank. I don't think he has many options, Thomas Frank, at the minute. So he might as well try to tap into whatever form Mathys Tel might be in right now. It's a bit of a shame that he had that performance right before international break, and then we have to wait a little bit for him to come back in, where it'd be nice if he could just get back into another game straight away. We're going to be talking about as well the likes of the attack. Should he be going with the same attack that he used against Leeds United, against Aston Villa at home? And then last and certainly not least, we'll talk about Mohamed Kudus. He's leading the league in assists, successful take-ons. Does he need to be bringing more to his game? Or could you phrase it this way? Do others maybe need to step up in their own department in terms of carrying the load of the creativity of the team? But like I said, seems like people in the house, Rain Man, Eugene, and others seem to be coming with their own topics, which is definitely a good thing. And we can dive into those. Dave, before we do so, how are you? And ready for another fan show?
Yeah, I'm keeping well, lad. Can't complain at all. And yeah, I'm ready for another fan show, There's plenty of people that maybe disagreed with some of the stuff you had to say yesterday. So if you are knocking about, don't be afraid to introduce yourself and come on and have a conversation with us.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Let's just bring some people in here quickly, and then we'll get the show underway. Ryan Trestane's in the house. We'll be talking to him later. AK Shag saying, here's a song for you, Dave. Think you can do this?
True Sweet Caroline, Mathys Tel. Goals never felt so good. We're not quite there, AK Shags. I would suggest, we've got another week or so before we're back in action. So I think we might need to rewrite this one, AK Shags. Look, we'll leave it open to the comments, let them decide. But for me, it sort of ruins the song, that.
I don't know if his last name is really, or his surname is really long enough for, the parts of. Yeah, I feel like you have to really extend the L, that part. Derek Hutchinson, good to see you as always. Benny Guy, hopefully you're okay as well. Lisa O, buenos tardes. Always good to see you out in Mexico. Logan THFC, big up to you. Wayne Bonner, good evening, folks. Hope you're all well. I have no issues with Bentancur, but Vicario is becoming too indecisive, panicky, and makes stupid decisions at times. Rodon versus Leeds, hitting the bar. Yeah, that was just an unnecessary chance that we gave them, really. It just felt like Vicario all of a sudden maybe forgot how to read the flight of the ball there. Mm-hmm. Phil Coy saying, looking pretty rosy right now. Very happy with how the team is playing right now with the Frank the Tank. Well, that might be something that we can start, because I think that's what Eugene wanted to talk about. Something that maybe we were kind of discussing a little bit yesterday when it came to Thomas Frank assessment review that we were doing on that panel show. Are you feeling like the team is headed in the right direction? Are you seeing the semblance of a new identity? Or has Spurs been riding some luck, maybe with the performances and some of the results? I think there's definitely a bit of a split there. Good to see you, though, Phil Coys, and would love to have you back on the show at some point, as well as Iceman Ricky. Hopefully you're keeping well. The link is up there for you if you are a fan show member, my friend. And then Wayne Bonner saying, I do like Tell. I rate him. I see a very good player in him. Still needs to toughen up, though, when up top, whereas Richie grabs but isn't exactly a goal scorer. I like Richie. I've always defended Richie, but I just think he's been playing so poor at the moment that's why I actually vouch for Mathys Tel just at least being given an opportunity again. And I think he took it, which is why I would give it to him again. Talk some controversial stuff, Dave. Make the show more spicy and exciting. He always tries his best. King Isling, evening all, talking about Kudus. He got an assist as Ghana beat Central African Republic 5-0.
He's on fire. Man's on fire. And Benny Guy, look, I don't think it's controversial. I think what I speak is common sense. If people find it controversial, then they're not in my lane.
Well, there you go. Spicy as always. Let's bring in the people. Ryan, Eugene, Rainman, Mia, and Jerome, and we'll get this show underway here. We can talk about what we had to say on terms of the Bentancur Vicario, but Rainman and Eugene were in here nice and early, and they seem to come in with their own topics. Maybe I'll go to Eugene on yours, since it's that maybe Phil Coy's brought up there, right? The idea of, you think maybe Spurs are riding a bit of luck here?
I'm glad to talk on anything, Jack. My thoughts on Bentancur. I think I went on the mini rant last time, but just to your point, I think giving him a long-term deal, I think it's not a good move whatsoever. Uh, Bergval and Sar are good squad options at this point. What we're missing is a top 8 who can dictate the tempo, control games, and Bentancur is just not it. Whether it's tactics or whether it's him, but every time he gets the ball, instead of pushing it forward, instead of passing it to attackers, he slows it down. He passes sideways and backwards. And my issue with Frank is playing both Palini and Bentancur against lesser teams who are playing low to mid block. I think that's the wrong approach, especially given our struggles in attack.
Can I
So,
ask you a question on that, Eugene?
yep.
I understand the point you're making, right? And I sort of take into account, maybe we are looking for that, maybe that deep line playmaker, someone with maybe a bit more of an expansive passing range, and feeding the lines and stuff. And I do understand the point you're trying to make. But if you go back and look at when we started dropping points, when he broke up that Paulinia Bentancur, sort of a partnership in there. After the Bournemouth game, he sort of changed it, and after that, we haven't really looked the same. But I'd also argue I don't think Papa Matsara is as good as Bentancur in that deeper position on the ball, or Bergval. I think Bergval is a bit of a problem when he plays in that number 8. And I get your point, but it's sort of like, is the conversation maybe a bit premature considering we don't really have that option? Like, if we had that option, I think many people would agree with you. They'd probably be calling for him to get into the team.
So I agree with you there, Dave. So I guess my point is, when we play against bigger teams or better teams, right? If we play Liverpool or City, then obviously the double pivot or Bentancur and Palhinha makes sense, because Bentancur, he can win the ball back, right? Slow things down. However, when we play against the likes of Wolves or Burnley or Bodo, or the teams that we should not be giving up possession to, Bergval is a runner. We know what he does. He's not a great passer, but at least he tries to make things happen. Sar, I mean, he's box to box. He's also a runner, but at least Sar tries shooting from the outside, right? That's how he scores his goals. Bentancur, I never see him in the box. I never see him attempting a progressive pass. He passes the ball back to Romero, who is the only one who actually is looking for a pass off the top. So I think Frank can pick and choose from who he has right now based on the opponent. So all I'm saying is Bentancur against smaller teams who play low block is not the way to go. Because again, like, he slows things down, he gives a chance for the defenders to get back into shape, to set up, and we struggle to break teams down. So short term, I'd play him against bigger teams. I would set him against smaller teams. But long term, my issue isn't even this season. It's giving him a long-term contract. I think he's just, again, I like him personally. He's a good guy. He's a good servant. But if we want to act like a big club, he's not an 8 that we need. Bergval is a year or two away. Sar isn't a star that we need. Again, we need somebody like Adam Walton or a senior, a top 8 who can play some. I don't recall last time I saw through ball from our midfielders. I want an 8 who can control games, control tempo, and play some through balls to our attackers. Right now, it's back and forth, side to side. So short term, I agree with you. Long term, I think it's a mistake. I would even let him go on a free, because honestly, if we want to, people say we signed him to protect his value. Let's be honest. I mean, we bought him for 15 million, right? He's what, 20 million maybe right now after the injuries. So I would just say, you know what, you're a good servant. Now go on a free, and I would sign somebody better. But that's not how this club operates, unfortunately.
Didn't he play single hand though in our first goal that we scored? Like, he won the ball back and then played the ball, or helped play the ball through to Tel. So like,
no, he's a ball winner. I'm not questioning. Like, he's not a bad player. All I'm saying is, for us to make that next step and to actually say we want to compete with the big boys, right? And we're saying we're a left winger away, a striker away, and I would argue we're a top 8 away from actually competing with the big boys. And he might be a good squad option, but we do have, like, if him being a squad option is fair. However, I would rather give that time to Bergvall and Sar as they're younger, and I want to see them develop. So if
Eugene, maybe
it's just extra.
if you look at this, Eugene, if you look at Bentancur's game, okay, can you say also maybe he's been instructed? Because depending on managers to managers, you look at Bentancur's game, his game changed. Because before he was forward looking, too forward looking, because he was doing some crazy passes, some dangerous passes, and would lose the ball most of the time. But now he's more conservative. He's going more at the back and something. So maybe he's been instructed to be playing that way.
But I've
So
seen
you
that
never know.
under Ange as well, though. Like that's what I'm thinking too. Maybe it's tactical, but we're seeing it under Ange, where again, instead of taking the ball and pushing it, he just passes it sideways. And
Yeah, but if you look the way he played under Ange, the way he did this was because when we were struggling badly, because we had nobody at the front, so he had to go back, and maybe he was instructed not too much forward passing, because Bentancur before he was really forward passing, like everything was like he was always forward. He was making some weird passes, didn't go, but he was always looking forward. But maybe he's been instructed. So you never know. You can't really say he's
that's
not
the
that
case.
good. So, yeah.
Then my issue is with Frank, and like I really, getting results, but playing Nuno ball or just playing the way he played at Brentford, that's I guess might be fine, but I don't know if I'll be happy just watching us give our possession to Wolves or to Leeds or to Bodo. I mean,
that's
in my
fair
mind,
enough.
that's not how we should be playing. We're not the Brentford, right? So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I do understand the point that Eugene is making. I do understand Jerome's point though as well. I do think some of it is tactical. Like, under Conte, he was the one tasked to get further forward while Højbjerg sort of sat in, so he does have that in his locker, It's not like he hasn't shown he can't do it. But under Ange Postecoglou, he was the one that had to sit in and play the deepest role. So, your job is to sort of be a bit more pragmatic in that role, just sort of recycle possession and moving on. And it looks like, to a degree, the role is sort of the same under Frank, only that he's got Paulini in beside him. However, to Eugene's point, like, if we do bring in that striker and we do bring in that other left winger and we do get going forward, then you are looking at like the likes of Bentancur and stuff like that. Can you give us more in terms of, creativity and stuff like that? And that will be a discussion that will come up further down the line. And I would argue, it's something that I've always argued. I think that is a player that Spurs should have on the transfer list, someone that can get on the ball deep, spray it about and stuff like that. Someone like maybe, for instance, a similar mold to like Tonali at Newcastle. I really like what he does, gets the ball, and a lot of the times he tries to move it forward. He's very competent on the ball. However, I don't think Bentancur is as bad as, and I'm not saying you're painting him out this. I understand your frustration, Eugene, but, as what I'm seeing across social media is, with people going mad about him, he's bloody useless, take him off, this, that, and the other, and it's sort of like, I know that. Just last thing, because we're not great going forward. I do think people are then looking at the likes of Bentancur and going, "Well, could you give us more?" And I think that is a bit unfair as well.
But
to Eugene's point, Dave, the thing is with Bentancur, like we all seen him. He's hot and cold. Like I said before, he's really hot and cold. He may have like a great game, a really good game, but he may have like two really bad games. We saw that against like City, he was amazing. And then after that, he was like, Bordeaux, he was not very good. Wolves, he was not very good. So he has hot and cold games. He's a bit like Bissouma.
Jerome, final thing is, and sorry, I'm talking too much, but does anybody think that he's a top 4 midfielder for a top 4 team? A starting quality midfielder for a top 4 team? Again, he is a great squad player. Just personally, for me, just looking at the top 4 teams, I just don't think if he's our starting 8, that's enough for us if we have ambition to. Right now, yes, I agree, Dave. But if we want to be a top 4 team and actually challenge even top 3, I just don't think he has enough quality for us. If we want to be that team, that's I guess my point.
That's a good point.
I agree. I think, once we fix other issues in the team, when you're starting to look for, minute problems. That is something that I think will be flagged. I think you're absolutely spot on. We'll take this from Iceman, Moondog, and Dermatron, and then I think, Jack, you said someone else had something else they wanted to discuss as well. We've got Iceman, member for 26 months, says, best Spurs show on YouTube. Another milestone hit, and I will continue to love this family and happy to show you boys love every day, week, month, and year. A big up, Iceman. Very, very kind
generous.
of you, Rick. Very, very generous of you. 26 months, man. That's an absolute long time. Me and myself and Jack are very, very lucky in that regard that we do get a lot of people who tend to support us long term. So really do appreciate that, Rick, and big yourself up, my man. Be nice to have you, partake and come on one of these shows one day. Maybe give myself and Jack a nice surprise, Rick. How about that? Big yourself up, my man. And then we've also got Moondog member for 46 months, man. Really appreciate that. So big up that David and Jack and the panel. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Moondog. Hopefully you and Charlie are keeping well, my man. Good to see you. How are you keeping that? Did you get any bets on for the Leeds game? Let me know. Did you win anything? And then Dermatron with the super sticker. What's the super sticker, Jacko?
Pointing up to the sky there. Probably just pointing up at you, Big Davo, up in the.
Where is Dermot today? He's usually in here causing chaos. Where are you today, Dermot?
Yeah, he likes to cause a stir in the first 15-30 before he goes on to his own show, but unfortunately, we don't have his presence. Does anyone else want to come in on the Bentancur?
Yeah,
Ryan, you seem to already.
Yeah. I'm ready now. I was actually just before we start, I was actually just putting on a toasty just so I could get revved up.
We saw you.
Now, so I'm good now. So right now I'm revved up. So look,
what was in that toasty?
Like boring. I'm liking boring at the moment because boring is getting us points. Boring is getting us where we need to be. Boring will get us top 4. Boring will do whatever you want. So if Bentancur wants to play boring football, right, then let's play boring football because I will take that 24/7 because we will get top 4 from this. Simple as. And Thomas Frank, yeah, he might want to play boring football for this year. Fine. Go ahead, Frank. Play boring football. I love it. Next year is a whole different year, right? We'll have a different hopefully we'll have a different window, right? Hopefully we'll be more attacking, right? But this year I will take boring 24/7, 7 days a week and 2 weeks on a Sunday, Dave. That's how excited I am about. If people want to call this boring football, fine. That's your opinion. I will just go and run with it because I don't believe it's
called it boring. Who are you aiming this at? But who?
No, people have called it boring football. People like Jerome has called it boring football.
It's boring football. Okay, you want me to say it? It's boring football.
Let's listen to Jerome, and we'll also get Brad in because I think Brad wants to say something. Jerome, you have the right to reply. Why do you say it's boring?
The only thing is we're saying is the reason I'm saying it's boring football is the football is not that great. Okay, Leeds, we won. That's fantastic. It was actually a good performance we saw against Leeds, but after we went 2-1, it was chaotic. Because let's be real, it was chaotic. So at the end of the day, what I'm asking is let's keep having those performance, but let's not drop the ball. Because Bodo, boring. Wolves, boring. Bournemouth, boring. Okay? This is boring football. I want to see us do better, attack, score goals, and make sure that we keep playing this way. Because the way we were playing against Wolves and Bodo is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I want to see better. And that's all I want to see. To be going and saying, I'll accept boring football, and as long as we get results, this is not sustainable. We said it under Conte. We said it under Mourinho. Boring football is not sustainable. Those kind of football is not sustainable. So let's be real here. That's why I'm thinking we need. Sorry, Rick?
And Nuno. You forgot Nuno.
And Nuno. And Nuno, yes. And Nuno.
Nuno. Look, it's we all wanted nice, great attacking football. We got it. We had Postecoglou, and look what happened to us. He almost got relegated. All right, probably not relegated, but everyone was wanting to be sacked because they kept losing games and conceding goals. Now, I think we're very in the early days of a project here. Thomas Frank is a project manager. We've got 7 games we've played, plus the friendlies and the PSG game. He's still finding out what players can play with each other, what we're best at, what we can do. And to be fair, the game against Leeds, there were some moments when we attacked Leeds where those quick players, those quick small players, that we did actually look quite entertaining. So, you know, it's early days. We seem to as soon as we have a bit of success, everyone thinks, oh, we should be world champions. You're about to challenge for the title. Yeah, go for it, Tottenham. Oh, you're not good enough to challenge for the title. Let's take it easy. Let's take it calm. We've had a good start to the season. We played some good football. We've played some really bad football. It's going to take its time. And, we just got to just sort of give it a bit of patience. And we did have good attacking football and defensive solidness under Pochettino. Solidity, yeah. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. We had that under Pochettino, but it took him a season and a half before we got that. So, we just got to give it a bit of time. And you said that Bentancur played bad against Bodo and against Wolves. They all played bad against Bodo and against Wolves. It wasn't just Bentancur.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but no, because we're talking about Bentancur, that's what I was saying. But look, the only reason I'm saying that is because before, we all look at the same way we are playing right now. We all said it's not sustainable. What I'm saying is, as soon as we hit the top six, as soon as we're going to hit in the top six, if we play the way we're playing against Wolves and Bournemouth and Bodo, we are going to be in big trouble. We are going to be in big trouble because both teams are also defensively sound, but attackingly also sound. We are not. Attacking-wise, we're not. We have problems scoring goals.
I'm quite confident when Tottenham play the big teams because the big teams are trying to attack us, and that's when I think we play our best football. We saw it at almost at Main Road. We saw it at the Etihad against Man City. Problem is the home games against teams we should be beating, like Wolves. All right, maybe not Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a good team, but teams like
Bournemouth are a good team. Yeah,
that's where I think our problem comes when we play the Wolves of this world at home, where we have to attack them. We know they're going to defend. That's our problem. We've got to, and again, we've got to be patient. We might have a player in Xavi. He might be the player that can do the passes that get through those sort of defenses. We just got to give it a little.
Yeah, like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like Frank out or something like that. I'm not going about like Frank or anything. All I'm saying is it needs to improve. The football just needs to improve. That's all it needs.
Well, let's answer Phil's comment here. It's directed at you, Jerome. He says 7 games in, Jerome. Aren't all teams trying to find their feet right now? Do you think halfway through the season we will see the same performances? I think not.
I think yes.
We gave 10 games, and then we were chanting, "You don't know what you're doing." Come on, just because it's 7 games and we're getting the results. I'm like, you're all telling me 7 games. We gave 10 games, 10. Just because the football was not great. No, it's not I'm not saying it's bad as Nuno. All I'm saying is it might not be sustainable if we keep playing this way. We are getting results, which is fantastic. I'm not complaining about the results. I'm not saying we should be complaining about. I'm complaining about performance right now. The performance is where I'm having a problem. What I'm saying is, as soon as we get it, look, Bournemouth was a good example. All right. A team that's sound in defense, midfield, and attack, we struggle. We struggled big time. We couldn't even put a dent on them at home. So still, it's just the performance needs to improve. And it's the same issue we've been having last season. That's all we're having. I'm going to give Frank time to coach them, to teach them the ways or something, or make them better. I don't care. I'm going to give him time. But all I want to see is the improvement in the performance in the football. Is that so hard to understand? Is that so much to ask? People can go and tell me, oh, it's early days, it's 7 games, it's this and that. But it's just like we need to see an improvement in the performance. That's all I'm asking.
Joe, I would say I agree with what Jerome's saying in the sense that I feel like, say, like games at home, why is he playing a Bentancur and a Paulinho? So his decision making in those games needs to be better when it comes to the lineup. And I completely agree. And I did say this when we got him. I said, our fans aren't going to be happy if he plays defensive football at home. That is not what that's not what the fans want to see. So I do think that there needs to be adjustment, but I also believe that he needs time to be able to maybe to develop that. And so of course he does need the time, but I do think that actually when we're playing at home, that's something I actually brought up. I can't remember who I was arguing with it about, and so I said, no, he won't do that, he won't. But that was my concern with Frank, is that he might play a bit too defensive. Like, I don't think away games when we're playing certain games is different, but home games against Wolves, what are we doing here? Why are we playing two more defensive players? Come on, like, we shouldn't be like that. We're at home. They hadn't won a game. Why are we playing like that? So I think that also Frank needs to learn about maybe the team tinkering too much, and also maybe tinkering when it comes to home games, maybe making it a little bit more better on the eye to watch at home, because I do think that's where sometimes it does get a bit meh with his decisions.
Yeah, I agree.
And we were open defensively as well. Against Bournemouth, they could have scored 5 or 6 against us. So if we're saying, you know what, like, we're very solid defensively, okay, you know, cool. However, in those games against Bodo, against Bournemouth, we were wide open in the back as well, which to me doesn't make sense, right? If we're playing mid-block and giving up possession, we shouldn't be as open. So if the other team would have like no chances whatsoever, I understand his tactics. However, we're also open on occasion, and that piece doesn't make sense.
It happens. Look, it's the same issue we had last season. It's the same thing. Those mistakes happened. Those things still happen, are still happening now. I'm not saying it's going to be fixed now, needs to be fixed now. Will take time to fix, but we need to see improvement in the football. That's all I'm saying.
I think
it will take time, but yeah.
I think when you look at it right now, I think the problem is we've been here before. We've had good starts on the managers. You know, I think when you look at it, there's plenty of positives to take from it, but there's also plenty of maybe worrying signs and, you know, issues that maybe need to be addressed going forward. And look, I'm probably the most guilty of this, but I still hold Tottenham Hotspur up here in my brain. You know, I still think, looking at what we've got, why can't we go and make a push for top 4 and build on it again and stuff like that? But maybe I'm guilty of, maybe we are just in progress, you know, and that it is going to take a bit more time. Maybe we're looking to run before we can even learn to walk at this point, you know. And look, I'm willing to give Frank the time that he needs. I think I've seen more than enough so far over this first period, you know, and I was a guy that was maybe initially not against the appointment, but was maybe thinking, could we get someone a bit more exciting, you know, off the back of the Europa League. But I have to say, I think Frank has done a stellar job. I think the way he communicates, you know, in terms of the press conference, you don't see the same outrage coming away from a fucking press conference the way you did on the Range Postecoglou, Jose Mourinho, Conte. You know, he doesn't hide from the problems, which I like. And, you know, not only does he try to answer them, but he tries to answer them with a bit of detail, a bit of, you know, human element to it. You know, when he was asked after the Villarreal game about, you know, Tottenham going forward, he says, yeah, look, we're a work in progress, you know. We don't have, you know, the left-hand side isn't working properly, you know, we don't have the connections down there and stuff like that. And I think he's a very good communicator, and I think all of that, he takes a lot of the heat off Tottenham Hotspur when it comes to media attention after the press conferences, after games and stuff like that. And I think all of that alone will buy him the time he needs. However, I still have my reservations around, can he turn this team into a possession-based team and, you know, a team that does look to go and attack teams rather than, you know, I think right now we're not good enough to do that. So there is going to have to be a blend of both. But, you know, say going into next season, does he have the ability to manage a possession-based team that go and kill teams off? Because if we really want to go and challenge, we really want to pick up trophies, you're gonna have to learn to do that over the course of the season. And that's where I have my reservations, because at Brentford, his team had some of the lowest possession stats. However, I think, you know, I've already seen enough to see that this guy will make it to the end of the season and be given.
I mean, away from home, he's sort of, you know, we've had a really good start, and he's got that sort of working pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just at home, I think we need to improve. And what David was saying, you know, we need to be able to, you know, attack teams at home and take them apart and go for it. We shall see. I mean,
it just doesn't have the tool to do that for the moment.
Can I just jump in quickly? I haven't got a lot of time. I've only got about 5 minutes.
Good evening,
sorry, My camera's not working. Sorry. You sent the
I just thought you hadn't put your face on, Dermot. I just thought you hadn't put your face on.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah. I ran out of makeup. That was the problem. I look like the Joker. That's my face. I got the Joker face.
It's an improvement, Dermo. It's an improvement. Don't worry.
Yeah. Some would say, Mia, but look, shit happens, and then you carry on with it. Look, I've heard a lot tonight. I've heard Rhino take my boring football and turn it on its head to a completely different level. What I was trying to say, and that's why I came on, just to clarify what I said about boring football. I agree with Jerome. I do agree with everything he's saying, I have to say. But I think after watching Ange last season, we need a little bit of sensible football. A little bit of pragmatic, sensible, where we're not too gung-ho. But I also think he's going to need transfer windows to change it. At the moment, we've only got players that can fit a certain system or sort of, squared pegs into round holes. Some players do need to move. Some players don't need to move. But we need January, we need next summer for us to get our attack and footballing right. I just think we've got to be really patient this season, what happens. And look, we've had a great start, but it's now coming up to time about backing them up now, backing them words up, backing them results up early, about going to a Chelsea at home and getting a win out of that, going away to the Emirates, getting the point, going up to a Newcastle and winning them games. It's all about now backing up what we've done early. And if we can get to Christmas around top 5 with, I say, a good November and a good October and good November and December as well, I think we can kick on in January and really kick on for top 4. But it's how we have to go between now and the end of December, because January is going to be so important. You have to get one or two players in to boost the squad, like we did with Kulu and Bentancur and that first Conte window when we went on to got top 4. I think we have to do. But Jerome is right. But we have to be a bit patient. We've been watching football, which is either 1 minute we're high, next minute we're low. And for the emotions of that, I think that's why I say we need a bit of boring football. We need a bit of stability and a bit of pragmatic football, where we know not everything's going to work, but we know the players were in a lot better position than we were last season. Let's just enjoy what we've done, but the hard work starts now.
Dermo, can I just ask you one question before you go then, mate? Because I know we don't ever agree on football in terms of on a lot, but personally we do. But you were saying
I've got a shocked look on my face, by the way, by that comment. I've just got a shocked look on my face, just to let people know I'm totally in shock. But anyway, sorry, Ryan.
No, you're fine. You said the first big test would be at Newcastle, yeah?
Yeah.
Or one of the big tests would be at Newcastle, yeah? Mm-hmm. So we've got to go to Newcastle, what, in a week or so's time? Am I correct?
Yeah.
In the cup?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a week or
that's
so?
correct.
A week.
About 2 weeks, because we played
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, we've got 3 games before that game. 29th of October.
Okay, so if we was to win there, Dermo, what would you think about the everything then? Would you say we'd be do you think that we would have then have kicked on, or do you think we would be still in a position of needing to kick on from that result afterwards with the next game?
I'd be just fucking glad we've won at Newcastle, because we've got hammered there the last few times we went up there. I'd just be glad getting to the next round, to be fair. I think I'd be in amazement if we got a result up there. But no, I'd just be glad that we've won the game. We're into the next round, and you just have to take each game that's come. I will say Wolves was an absolute embarrassment. But I also feel when I don't know if somebody's mentioned it, but we still cannot break low block sides down. It doesn't how many managers we've gone through, from Mourinho to Conte to Nuno to Postecoglou to Thomas Frank. Yeah. We cannot break low block teams down. So we need to address that either in January or in the summer. But it's going to be a problem until we can address it. If teams put 11 men behind the ball, we cannot break them down. I don't know why, but it seems that we struggle at that. But if we beat Newcastle, it's a step closer to Wembley. And I want to get to Wembley this year because I've already taken out my Chaz and Dave album. I suppose we're on the way to I'm getting it ready. But yeah.
Us being able to break down low blocks though was also the problem last season too, and I think it's more down to the quality of the players really, because Ange had a system that you would think would be good enough to try to break down low blocks with the constant pressure, tons of possession, but we were pretty awful to watch. It was very horseshoe football, just sideways, backwards, even though we would be camped in the opposition half. We struggled to even get crosses into the box, probably because of guys like Brennan Johnson and whatnot that just weren't good enough to be able to do it. But there's two ends of the spectrum here. There's Frank, who plays a very defensive mind of football, which you can have concerns about whether he could break down the low block. But then last season we had the complete opposite, and we still struggled to break down low blocks. So I think it's more down to the personnel than it really is down to the system.
Well, it doesn't matter which manager we have. We still struggle to break down.
Graham, 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
Loving the boring football?
I'm loving what I'm seeing. Absolutely 100%. I hear everything that everyone's saying, and I don't disagree with any of it. But what I hope is happening is Frank is methodically and unemotionally, maybe not during, he's quite clearly passionate, right? You see that in the way that he dealt with Kudus after Leeds, the way he dealt with Tel. But I think the way that he's dealing with the squad, I think the way that he's giving players chances and then making his mind up. Johnson is a really good example where he played him, gave him an opportunity. He didn't give him one game. Didn't give him. He didn't do what Ange did. Forgive me, but throwing Johnson in against a tough opponent like Ange did with Gray, putting Gray in at 6 against Liverpool. Come on, dude. Right? Frank is very methodically learning about the whole squad and giving them an opportunity to deliver. He's been giving Tel an opportunity up front, and he did a half decent job. Yeah, he did a half decent job against Leeds. A lot of people are missing the fact that Tel did a really, really superb through ball to put in the run up to the Kudus goal. That was basically set up by a defence splitting pass by Tel. Well done, lad. Because I've been really, really concerned that he clearly hasn't been good enough now, and that he's not going to be good enough now. But who knows? Frank, for heaven's sake, Frank has got Johnson crossing the ball. Frank has got Johnson. There was a great stat.
Well, against Doncaster, let's not.
Yeah, but whatever. Right,
Rayman, can I just say something? Did I miss that?
I've been listening to all of this, right? And in the great stream, anybody who didn't see the stream on this channel yesterday, grab yourself a cup of tea over the weekend when there's no football. Do some housework. Put that stream on about Frank. It was fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic. And there was one stat in there which I felt stood out. That Johnson tried 3 take-ons in I think it was in the Leeds game.
Bodo. Yeah.
Right, in the Bodo game. I'm sure that's more take-ons than he tried out the whole of last year, right? So I think Frank is actually I think he is. It's not as quick as we would like, but he is working, and I fully expected at the weekend versus Leeds for us to start with Palhinha, Bentancur, and a workman-like 10. And he started with Xavi. He had 4 forwards on that pitch away to Leeds. Now, I know I nearly fell off my chair with Dave's reaction to that stupid Rabona that he tried.
Oh, no.
Right?
We all had that reaction. We all had the same reaction.
On the watch on. But I love the fact that Xavi tried, And that little dink that Xavi did,
that
little dink that Porro fluffed up and Xavi was not happy.
That was brilliant. Yeah,
those are the things that are going to help us break down low blocks, right? And I hope that when Mathys comes back, he can dovetail up at the 10 if he ever comes back, because Mathys was doing that kind of stuff for us before he got pushed back into an 8. I'm loving it. I think Frank is quite methodically working out what this squad can deliver, and it hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been scintillating, but I think that he's moving in the right direction.
He's also learning as well, isn't he, Rayman? Sorry, Mia. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
It wasn't me.
No, it was me, man.
It was me.
All right. Sorry. Do you know what? I've got to jump off now anyway. But look, I agree with you, Rayman. But also, I think to add to that, he's learning about the players. He's learning about the squad, and he's looking more into the depths of the stats and what players can do. I must admit, I did miss Brennan Johnson trying to cross a ball, and I did also miss him trying to take on players. So if anyone's got that on video, could you please send it to me? Because I probably would.
You need to
beat his hand after it.
Yeah, that was the problem. I blinked and I missed it. Just very quickly, I just think Tottenham, the first 7 games, we all would have bitten our hands off for where we are now.
Yep.
We really would do. Good or bad of it, good football, bad football, whatever. We're in a decent position. And Tottenham now going to have to build in this. And that's it. I'm off because I've got to do my member show. Talk about fantasy leagues. So find out where I am in that. Probably bottom, but no, my luck probably am. But thanks for coming on. Look, Dave, you send out the signal. The Dermatron always goes when the bat signal goes up. He will be here to cause chaos.
You didn't create enough chaos for me, but people, make sure you get over and check out Dermo's channel here and smash subscribe. But what you did do is you put smiles on people's faces, I suppose, Dermo. That's a positive.
Do you know what? I will leave one hand grenade. Yeah, I will leave one hand grenade for a leave. Kingsley should take over Vicario for number 1 spot.
Well, just before we get into Dermo's topic, Rohin member for 28 months. I don't know if you were supposed to put in a chat. I've looked, there hasn't been one since, but if you were, put it in. But really appreciate the length of the sport. Big up, Rohin. Good to see you in the building. So look, I just suppose then next, obviously, we'll just pick up from where Dermo left off then, guys.
I am joking, by the way. I am joking.
No. We should definitely be talking. We should definitely be talking out of that. Yeah.
He's not joking. This guy was the one that started partying to Johnson in the 10. He's not joking. He's serious.
I stick by that, Dave, and I stand by that. And I stand by that he should be a striker too. So I'm standing by that.
You're still here
on that bombshell. I am going.
It's an inside forward. It's an inside forward. It's not a winger. It's an inside forward.
See, Brad agrees with me. See, Brad sees it how. Brad, to you, Brad. I'll get you a pint when I'm over for the Brentford game. I made up and get a pint for you and Rayman. Right, I'm pissing off now. Right, see you later. Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
Well, do we want to move on to Vicario? Yeah, we did talk about Bentancur at some point, but Vicario, I think, is also someone online who I've seen is under a heap of pressure.
Yes.
So Vicario, Jerome.
Definitely. I'm going to start on the Vicario one, and I'm going to say people are unfair. Very unfair on the guy. He's been saving our bacon. If you watch the game, Leeds game, who made the last save to save us from equalizing? Vicario. Bournemouth. Who saved us from a really big embarrassment against Bournemouth? Vicario did. The goal that we got against Leeds. The guy you look at this closely. He actually saved that ball, but unfortunately, it went straight to that striker. It was on our defender to make sure that they had an eye on that striker and make sure to stop him. Vicario didn't do anything wrong there, but as soon as he stopped that ball and the ball went away and the guy scored the goal, Vicario is shit. He needs to get out. What is he doing here? The guy has been saving our bacon time and time and time again with his shot-stopping quality. And now we're going at him because he had one mistake? I would say one mistake in 7 games, one mistake. And we are going after him. this is unfair. I think it's really unfair to say Vicario is not good for his team. Vicario is fantastic. His shot-stopping saves are immense for us. You can shake your head as much as you want, Rhino. It's true. It is true.
But a lot of the chat
Because
agrees
this
with
guy
you,
has
though.
been saving us.
A lot of the chat
No.
agrees with you.
No,
You can
I
say
don't
what you
agree
want,
with you.
Rhino. He's been saving
don't
us.
agree with you.
Because the thing is, what we are doing, what we are saying against him is the save he made, the one he made against Leeds. Okay, that's unfortunate. But what's the defender doing? He should be looking at his player. Should be defending better than that. The guy was free
No,
to score.
I'm sorry because like I can't agree with that. Right, I was up until the beginning of this season. I was in the Vicario. I was the Vicario in camp. But now, after seeing what I've seen this season, he's what good at one thing, shot stopping. But then you've got him where it's not just about shot stopping. You got to be good with everything. You got to come out for corners and demand your area. You have to, when you're a keeper, you have to yell and tell your captain, who's Romero. I don't care how tall, lanky piece of whatever you want to call him, right? But he's tall, and I don't care whether Romero's your captain or not, right? You still yell at him and tell him it's my ball. You can't just sit there going fanny farting, punching it out all the time. You need to come and yell at your defence and say leave, because if you don't, right, he's going to literally just keep fluffing his lines, and no one wants him fluffing his lines. We need to get a better goalkeeper in either in January or in the summer, right? Because Vicario is not good at anything else.
Yeah. So you just want a good goalkeeper so he can save corners. Is that what you want? So I rather have a great shot stopper that will stop people like in one-on-one. He will stop the ball. He will stop like shot from far away. But what are players meant to do during corners? We just look at their goalkeeper to stop the ball. They are meant to stop it as well, right? It's a whole team to defend that corners. Why are we just going after Vicario for that corner? For corner. So he's fluffing the ball. He's fluffing the ball.
It's happened for so long, Jerome. Even look at a couple of seasons ago or last season when he fluffed his lands, right? And he didn't catch the ball, and then we got knocked out of the FA Cup by Man City.
Dude, it's corners. Things happen during corners. It's so chaotic. It's so chaotic when people take corners. If there's so many people around, it's chaotic. Things happen. But I'd rather have a great shot stopper. I'd rather have someone who's not scared, like when someone's coming one-on-one to you, is not scared of something. If people are going to tell me Kinski is better than Vicario, seriously, there's something you need to look at yourself to tell me that Kinski is better than Vicario.
You know the moment I can't get out of my head? I think, Jerome, you make points. I think he is a really good shot stopper. I sort of agree with you on that one. But I also think Rhino has a fair point. You know, he is weak under set pieces. You know, I remember I still get haunted by that ball that came in and he jumped behind Chris Wood to try and punch it, you know, rather than try and get in front of him. But the one that made the one that I worry about and sort of have sleepless nights over is the Europa League final. Van de Ven saved his bacon. If Van de Ven didn't make that clearance, conversations around Vicario this summer. And I just think in big games when you're trying to see them out, is that going to happen again? And is he going to be bailed out this time? And that's where I think the question mark comes in. You know, do you maybe need to upgrade Vicario in the future? Right now, not going to happen. Right now, I don't think Kinski is good enough in the shot-stopping department to sort of, you know, displace Vicario. But the conversations come about because over his time, he does make a lot of errors.
Yeah, but Dave, at the same time, if you want to talk about the final, right? Yes, he made that mistake. He made that one mistake, yeah? But can we say also that header that was from what's his name? Luke Shaw. But the header,
Luke Shaw.
The header from Luke Shaw. That was a goal. That was definitely a goal because he was alone with that header. Who saved it? Vicario saved it. He's the one that saved us as well. So we can say, yes, he made mistakes. Like every single player on this pitch, he will make mistakes. That does happen. But you can count on him to make saves, incredible saves, but people will think that's a goal, that's it, we're done, but he will save that ball. I wouldn't count on Kinski to save this. That's a goal. That's a goal. That's a definite goal. But Vicario saved us things. So Vicario, we can say, yes, he makes mistake like every single player on that pitch, but he also saves us countless time. Vicario saved us from being embarrassed by Bournemouth multiple times in this game, multiple times. So let's not just forget this. We always look at the bad things.
I think it's a fair point.
The problem with Vicario is he's an enigma. He is as everybody's been saying in the Leeds game and in the Europa League game, as Jerome said, he was both. You could equally argue he produced a clown moment and he produced an absolutely outstanding moment. So it's so difficult to have this argument.
It's not really though, because your keeper's supposed to be a reliable, steady Eddie.
And that's the problem, isn't it? That's where people are landing. I do think as well. I've listened to a lot of chatter, and I hear stuff about him, catching it. And against Leeds, the way that he sort of fumbled over for that corner was embarrassing, really. But I do also wonder if people are thinking that goalkeepers are who they used to be in the 80s and 90s when they used to do what did Roy Keane say? He needs to commit violence. Goalkeepers don't get away with that anymore. Goalkeepers are not allowed to do that anymore. He doesn't catch the ball. That's because they're not trained to do it anymore. They're trained to parry. That's literally what. If you watch them,
I disagree.
They just parry. No. If you watch them warm up,
there's plenty of games against us. I've seen keepers pluck balls out the air, no problem, without punching.
I'm okay. I bow to your memory because I don't.
Take Donnarumma, for example. Take Ter Stegen. They all pluck the balls out of the air. They don't just punch it away all the time.
David Ray at Arsenal comes and catches a lot.
No, but maybe Donnarumma is probably a better option, better all-rounder, should I say? Because if you look at Donnarumma, and this is what really annoys me, he doesn't just play out with by the sounds of it, everyone wants to have their keeper playing out with their feet. You can't. That doesn't work as good for every goalkeeper. Donnarumma can do it, right? He's one of the you name me any other goalkeeper that can do it apart from Donnarumma. No one else, right? So we need to have someone who can actually come out, catch the ball, literally pluck balls out of the air, and boot it downfield and go back to, like I said last week, right? Back to the 90s football where you just boot it down the field. It's simple as. Vicario can't do that. He can't pluck balls out of the air. He's a good look. If you want your keeper to be a good shot stopper and play out with his feet, then what are we doing here? Because it is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not trying to have a go at anybody here, but Jerome, you're having a bubble, mate. I don't want a goalkeeper that can just shot stop and play out with his feet. If that's the keeper you want, then God help us, because that is ridiculous. I want all round.
You don't want a keeper. You don't want a keeper that can give a long ball to your striker and for your striker to get the ball. You don't want that. You don't want a keeper that has accuracy with his feet. You just want a keeper that you just catch the ball in corners and boot the ball forward to whoever gets it. You don't want a keeper that's got feet like Edison, like Alisson, like Donnarumma. You were saying like all of those keepers. You like Alisson, Edison, that was good on their feet, good shot stoppers. They were amazing goalkeepers. Alisson is still good. Edison was an amazing goalkeeper, but he was amazing with his foot.
The goalkeeper on the flank, though. The goalkeeper on the flank doesn't have to distribute anywhere near as much. He's passed that responsibility back onto like your Romeros and your Van de Vens. Vicario with the ball at his feet has a lot less time or a lot less possession at his feet than maybe under Ange Postecoglou. So you are then maybe more looking at the basics of the goalkeeper under Thomas.
No, that's right. But
can he
look,
can he save shots? You know, he concedes quite a few shots from long range and stuff like that. You know, and you're more looking at sort of the basics of a goalkeeper. And when I look at Vicario, I think the fact that, you know, we're again, to Rayman's point, the fact that we're sitting here arguing the good and the bad shows me that, you know, maybe it is the right thing to improve on him come next summer, because at the end of the day, you know, your goalkeeper, you just want that, you want him to be a steady Eddie. You know, with Vicario, he can have one great game and then the next game he can let you down. You know, and that's been the problem with it since his arrival. A goalkeeper that's up and down, you don't want that in goals. You want someone that's just calm behind the back line, you know, when he's relied upon, does his job, no fusses. You know, with Vicario, the reason why he punches and flaps everything away is because he's so nervous under set pieces, under balls into the box, under crosses. He doesn't believe in himself. You know, there's plenty of games last season where we were trying to put balls in the box. And I remember there was one game specifically, the goalkeeper came out and caught every single cross we put in. Yeah, every cross they put in, Vicario's punching away, flapping away. You know, it's not good enough. You know, at the end of the day, look, I do agree with Jerome. I think it is important to highlight that maybe when we're not playing well, he does keep the scoreboard down. He does give us a chance to take something out of the game where we're not playing well. But I would argue when we are playing well, it's him that makes us has a lapse in concentration or makes a mistake. You know, you look back at some of the goals we conceded in recent weeks, he's been at fault. Bodo, you know, simple pass back to him. Okay, you would argue the pass should never have went back, but it did. He went to clear it. He put it 60 feet up in the air and they scored off the back.
That was a comedy of errors, that goal.
Yeah,
definitely.
But, you know, sometimes, you know, you've made errors. You rely on your goalkeeper, just put it long. He can't do it. You know, he flaps in big moments. You know, the Europa League final, he made some good saves. But right at the depth, you know, against bigger teams that we come up against, they're going to put balls in the box.
I mean,
you know, the problem is if he's coming out flapping at them, it's a huge issue. It doesn't exactly steal you with confidence that you're going to be able to see out a lot of these games that way.
I mean, if I asked everyone on the panel or in the chat to predict who would be in the top three, you'd probably say Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City would probably be the favourites, and they've probably got the three best goalkeepers in the Premiership.
Fair point.
So I don't think it's
Allison.
Ryan does make mistakes too.
Brad's been quiet for a while.
Yeah, let's let some others come in.
So I think that and this is another question to everyone. I've actually grown up watching Tottenham, and I've seen Tottenham with 3 England goalkeepers and 1 Ireland goalkeeper. So I'll leave it up to you guys to work out who they are. But we've had some really good goalkeepers, what I'm trying to say. He's a good shot, so yes, I don't think we can argue with that. He just needs to improve his set pieces. We need to get decent goalkeeping coaching to do that, because that's his one problem at the moment. And I mean, the chance when I think Rodon hit the post, didn't he, with that header? Yeah. Where was Vicario? Vicario was. I mean, I remember watching, go, where are you going, Vic? You know, and then we had that situation where he punched where I'm going, that's yours. You can catch that. I can catch that. And he punched it. So, he definitely needs to improve in that. And I guess that's going to come in coaching. We're not going to be buying a goalkeeper in January. We might not even buy one in the summer. But, I think he does need to improve on his for his crosses and that sort of thing. And, you know, I'll give you one of the goalkeepers. Northern Ireland's Pat Jennings was one of the best or probably the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. He was brilliant at catching from corners. Mind you, he had hands the size of buckets, but he was.
They were big guys, though, Brad. Pat Jennings was a big guy. Was a really big guy. The only thing I would say, Vicario, he's very skinny for a Prem goalkeeper. He's very skinny. That's the only thing. He's weak, so that's why he needs those people around him to defend him with corners, because he's skinny. He can be bullied easily. That's the only thing for Vicario.
De Gea was skinny, though. De Gea just sort of eventually commanded that sort of, kind of box a bit better. You know, there are plenty of good skinny goalkeepers, I would say. It's just I do agree with Vicario gets bullied. But De Gea struggle with the same thing.
Can I quickly go? Sorry, because I need to go, because I've promised my son I'll watch Wally with him. I love this movie, so I definitely want to watch it. Yeah. The thing I would say is that for all the people calling for Kingsley to come in, don't forget he had one good game, and then he was pretty not great. He was pretty rubbish at times. So for people who have got short memories, who say bring Kingsley in, I think people are forgetting that. Yeah, he's a young keeper, and I'm not overly criticising him, but he's not what everybody's now putting in their mind to be when he's not ready. And Vic has saved us a lot. And people might say, in this game he did this, and I agree. He does have moments where I think he's like a bit away with a fairy. Sometimes he looks around like he's like, oh, butterfly, oh, and then he like loses concentration, like he's a bit ADHD, if you like. And I do get frustrated with him when he kicks the ball out into touch and you're like, oh my goodness, what are you doing, Vic? You know, like at times I do get frustrated, but then other times you just think, who else is going to make those saves? And him being skinny, I think makes is better for him because he's more agile, because he's not got a lot of weight, so he can fling himself about. Like he's quite agile, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
cat-like reflexes.
I think that probably like it's a plus on some ways and a negative, I suppose, if you like think that he can be bullied a bit more off the ball and stuff. But I do think that people have got a bit short memories when it comes to Kinksky. That's the only thing I would say is that don't kind of jump to, oh well, Kinksky, because as soon as Kinksky comes in and gets one of the games again, people will be like, oh, I'll bring Vic back, because they'll see that really Vic does actually pull off a lot of good saves for us. So
I think
agreed.
Yeah, I think we noticed the difference when Vic came back after injury. It was very
different. But anyway, I'm going to go and leave you lads to it.
Enjoy your evening,
Mia.
Great job, man. Thank you.
Enjoy, Wally.
And someone in the chat was right about my 3 goalkeepers, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, two things on what Brad said.
Yeah, there we go.
I think Jack, I think Vicario is like 28, 29. He's not improving. He's not changing who he is. And I agree with Mia. I think the biggest problem is that he's a classic goalkeeper and that he's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
What's everyone remember that Paul Robinson goal though? Like all those years ago, that was brilliant. I loved it.
I saw it. I was there. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Just quickly, what do people think of SOS point here? Van de Ven now taking kickoffs for Vicario. I mean, what's that about? We look like a bloody pub team. You know, the only time I've ever seen the centre-back take a kick out for a goalkeeper is when a goalkeeper can't kick the ball more than 10 yards, you know, in your local stadium. What's this about?
But he doesn't rate his kicking.
I don't know what this is.
Vicario can't kick the ball out more than 2 yards, Dave. So
He can kick that ball. He can kick the ball. He can kick it. He can pinpoint the ball properly. But I don't understand what the thing about Van de Ven.
Back to what I said. He can't use his feet.
I know what it is. It's this bizarre fad, right? Which I think King Hoddle accurately described as started by Pep for to play the ball around the back. So the bizarre fad is the centre back takes the goal kick and he just passes it to the goalkeeper so that they can then start doing their little.
Then they do the little back from the back. Play from the back. Yeah,
that's why Van de Ven is taking the goal kicks. It's not because let's be clear. This is not a Frank thing. This is not an Adams thing. This was happening under Conte and Jose. I was standing in the crowd and I was absolutely going nuts. I hate it. I hate it. Lose the ball on the halfway line, not on the edge of the penalty area.
Take your chances.
You know, it drives me nuts. But I think that's why Van de Ven is taking, because otherwise, you know, we used to do it at schoolboy football, right? When there was one kid who could actually kick the ball and the goalkeeper can't.
I think that's what it is, though. I think Thomas Frank, he wants his goalkeeper majority of the time to just get it as far away from his goal as possible, really. It's a classic old school case. Whereas with Ange, he didn't really want that. He wanted us to try to keep it on the floor, try to play out from the back, try to play out from the pressure. Vicario was brave enough to try to do that, but he's not good enough to just get it absolutely, pummeled out of the area and just get it as far away from his goal as possible, like other goalkeepers. Like you see with Pickford, right? That's what's kind of fun about Pickford, is that he can really almost launch it all the way to the other side of the pitch. And Vic is just not even capable of that at all. So I think that's why he has Van de Ven doing it or Romero doing it, because those guys actually really can do that if need be. So it's just an indictment of Vic's, lack of technical ability to be able to actually just get the ball launched, really. So I think that's part of the reason why he could be. I'm not saying that's the reason you should drop him, but I do think that's sometimes the case why maybe we do find ourselves under a bit more pressure, because he's not very good at clearing his lines as other goalkeepers.
It's
I don't
honestly,
know, Jack.
it's
It's like,
very simple.
yeah,
It's very
it's just
simple.
depends.
It's like the Bentancur situation. Like, is he our biggest issue? Is Vicario our biggest problem? No. Is he good enough if we want to challenge? I don't think so either, right? He's a great shot stopper. However, I am nervous every time he is on the ball. I can only imagine how the defenders feel. I just think he doesn't instill confidence in the defenders. He's just, yeah, he's too out there. As Rain said, at 28, 29, he will not improve his set piece defending. He will not, he is who he is. He's a great shot stopper, old school goalkeeper. For us, again, for now, top 6 keeper, yes. However, his distribution is pretty bad, and that's how a lot of the attacking starts for us. He's not good enough. He doesn't instill confidence in defenders or the fans, and he just has some howlers as well. Like, I don't know. I like him. Like, I like what he's about. However, again, for now, he's good enough. But if we want to challenge, just like with Bentancur, just like with probably 70% of the players on our team, he needs to be upgraded on if we're serious. So maybe in a year or two, we're gonna bring somebody else in.
I think someone likened it to the Ramsdale situation at Arsenal, where it was something that they eventually, maybe it was Dave, probably the person I usually talk to, but it was someone that I overheard in a conversation once saying that, and I don't think that's correct.
Dave was saying that we should have got we should have gone Raya. We were going for Raya. We should have just gone and got him, and that. And then everybody got very excited about Vic. I agree with Eugene. We've got quite a few 60 to 70% players, and like 30% of the time they're liabilities. And the problem is we hang on to the 60 to 70% hope.
And do you know what's funny? I actually have to agree with Eugene here, and I don't agree, and I don't like most of the opinions he comes out with, but I have to agree with Eugene on that, and that is absolutely true. Like, he's not the best at distribution, but he's a great shot stopper. But I like the old-fashioned goalkeepers where they can punt it downfield, even punt it out into row Z somewhere halfway down the field and punt it into row Z, something like that. I love that. That's the kind of goalkeeper I like. Unless you're going to offer me Donnarumma in goal, I just want an old-fashioned goalkeeper who can punt it into the row Z. Do you know what I mean? Halfway down the field. Simple.
Pat Jennings is still alive, so
let's bring in Walker out requirement.
Let's get Walker.
Let's find another topic. Let's find another topic while we still have time for it. Does someone have one that, because a few of you people in the back end had ones that you want to get off your chest? Yes, Eugene, raising your hand.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of debates about this on different streams with different people, but I'm hearing a lot about, we're doing great, we're high up in the table, we scored third most goals, our defending is really good if you look at the stat sheet. However, that does not align with what I'm seeing, right? We have 4 own goals, we have trouble scoring, we're wide open sometimes at the back. And so I think it's just, we should be able to critically analyze and be able to think about each individual game. So for me personally, I'm like, am I happy about, where we are? Yes. However, as we touched on, if we play the way we play, if we don't upgrade, I just don't see us getting top 5. It's based on the strength of schedule, based on our competition, based on what we've shown. I just don't think, I think our position right now is deceiving a bit. I just don't think we'll be able to maintain it. So I guess
I
that's
agree.
kind of what I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that, because I seem to be in the minority. Everybody else is super positive about where we are.
Yeah,
and
Oh.
for me, it just seems like my eyes are deceiving me.
Lots of promises.
No. I agree with you on this, Eugene. The stats looks good but when you have reality, when you look it straight with your eyes, there are issues. Stats looking great, but if you look at it with your eyes properly, you can see there's issues there. Yes, you're right. Everything you said is right. We sometimes you're wide open. We still have. Yeah.
Is it stats don't lie or eyes don't lie?
Well, 4 own goals, Dave, right? Set piece goals, 4 own goals. Like how many actual goals? And even the Leeds game, there were 2 goals off of deflections. Again, good takes. I'm not taking anything away from Kudus, right, or from Tel. You have to shoot in order to score. However, again, things are going our way, right? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. 4 own goals. How many? Like 3 set piece goals, even 4 set piece goals, and then deflections. I don't remember more than 2 like clean open play goals that we created. I'm like, oh wow, like this is a great combination. This is a great passage of play. So again, I'm grateful that things are finally going our way, where in the past they haven't. But this is not going to continue. This is not going to happen against tougher teams. And so that's my thing. Like looking at the stats, like it's not the reality. The reality is we've been getting some good fortune. And that's kind of my concern.
An own goal is an own goal, and it still counts as a goal, mate. At the end of the day, so why are you?
But that's not my point right now. It's not. We cannot live on own goals. Those are not going to happen.
It sounds like you're complaining about having own goals now.
I'm not.
But what Eugene is talking about, he hasn't seen us playing as a team, passing the ball properly, and then scoring a goal as a team. Currently, he's saying we are getting those results based on luck. Okay? He's not saying that the goals that we're scoring are not based on just
luck,
team's actual performance.
So you don't think we played well against Manchester City?
Yeah, well, that's
we had 3 good games, Brad. We had a good games against PSG, a good games against Burnley, and a very good games against City. Can you tell me the games after were good games?
There's a very own narrative that's been around as long as football has been around itself. You can play well and pick up points. It's when you play badly and pick up points as well. It doesn't matter where they come from. Yes, I do agree. Own goals we have ridden our luck. And maybe we've deserved a bit of luck because we've had a bit of bad luck recently. But I do feel that fans just want the perfect football. They want the perfect way of playing. And sadly, football is not like that. We all want the perfect team. We all want Tottenham to attack like we know they can. We all want to dare us to do football. I do feel there has to be a balance where I feel there has to be a balance where, yes, we've ridden our luck. Yes, luck. We've got the rub of the green. Brilliant. And it all equals itself out during the season anyway. But I do feel I'm really strongly on this, and I will stick by this. You can, if you're playing well and picking up points, brilliant. But when you're playing badly and you're picking up the odd point and wins, that shows something of progression than where we were.
So I disagree on that.
I disagree. That phrase is used to a good team. Teams that are winning most things. And when they don't play well, they still find a way to get a result over the line and continue. That's usually used, in context of a good team.
That's Arsenal.
We haven't been a good team for a long time.
We haven't been a good team, but I think we're changing that narrative. And I understand what you're saying there. I disagree what you're saying. I think it's great.
Well,
I think it's healthy.
True,
but it's healthy to have your own opinions, and it's healthy to disagree with other people either. Respect, like everyone here respects everyone else's opinion, but I think it's also healthy that you can come back and say, no, I disagree with you. I think that's healthy, and I think it's right.
I do take the boys' point, though. We have been riding a lot of luck lately.
Yeah, and I did say that.
How long is that going to continue,
I did say that we've been riding a luck, but I think you also make your own luck as well, in a lot of times as well. If you put a ball in a dangerous position, either your striker's going to get there, it's going to come off the defender, but the point is you're putting the ball in that position. So something's going to happen. So I think you make your own luck as well.
I thought Eugene was going in a different. I was agreeing with Eugene because I thought that what he was saying was we don't need a new striker because of OG.
No. I would. How dare you?
I love OG.
How dare you, Ray?
love him.
I would never say that.
It's absolutely fantastic. OG is brilliant. Absolutely great. Top scorer up alongside Paulinia. It's absolutely crazy. I think we've scored some cracking goals, by the way. I mean, Kudus' goal, it took a deflection. By the way, Kudus' goal took a deflection and the goalkeeper got nowhere near it. Leeds' goal got a double deflection from about 6 yards. Vicario managed to parry it so close to being, so close to parrying it round the post. And unfortunately, there was an unmarked Leeds player who was allowed. So Vicario managed to.
The goal against we conceded against Wolves, he parried it out and it just happened to hit. I think it was Paulino or Bentancur back right to their player who's on the line. So that wasn't exactly lucky, was it? So you have luck, you have unluck. It's just the way it goes.
No, but then the other thing is, like, there was 2 balls on the pitch at the same time, so their goal should never have counted anyway.
That was a plastic ball. It was a balloon.
It's a balloon, man.
The goal one's okay was okay for them to be allowed. Then
that's a beach ball, wasn't it?
Was that goal, Brad? Was that goal disallowed?
No,
when that bit against Sunderland? Was it? I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't.
It bounced off the beach.
It wasn't.
It did actually.
Yeah.
No,
it wasn't.
It was controversial for weeks, Dermot.
Yeah, it was. I remember it.
Went on and on and on.
Fair play to the Sunderland fan actually who did it. Fair play to him actually.
Did he get the assist? That's what I want to know.
But getting back to Eugene's point, I think there is. We do have to. I feel the anxiety, which is we haven't had the hardest starts in terms of the teams that we're playing on paper. But I think the reality is, we actually quite often play better. Go back actually to Dave's point. We play better against the better teams because they don't low block us. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you're looking at it analytically. Analytically, we're outperforming our XG and we're outperforming our XGA, by the way. Vicario is outperforming his XGA by quite some margin.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. People are not really recognizing that he's actually, but the stats, and I'm not sure I agree with them, the stats actually say that Vicario is saving us. I don't know, but on the one hand, analytically, you want to say, we're going to start to drop points. But on the other hand, when we start playing these, the teams higher up, like the Man City, like the Arsenal, like the Liverpool, like the Newcastle, Villa's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
So
usually,
do you know what?
Usually we get more space and we play better.
But
see, do you know what? Yeah, right. It's weird because I can't believe I'm actually saying this again for twice in one night that I'm actually agreeing with Dermo. Blimey, O'Reilly. I mean, this is coming to be more of a. This is becoming a bit
now at this point.
I know. No, I might as well.
I think Ryan just can't believe he agrees with anyone at some points.
Can I just say, good job I live in Ireland. That's all I'm going to say on that comment. Whoever said get a room, good job I live in Ireland.
Yeah,
I'm hiding. I'll be going to witness protection tomorrow evening.
Do you know what? It's funny because I agree with what Dermo actually said earlier when he said about the playing bad and still being able to pick up points. I don't agree with you, Dave. I believe I 110% agree with what Dermo said. You can play bad and still pick up points.
Yeah, if you're delusional and you're taking a quote out of context, yes, but that context is applied to a team that's winning most weeks. The sign of a championship winning team is a team that when they don't play well on a given day, they still find a way to get a result. I've never heard that being put on a Burnley or a team down the bottom going, well, they're not a good team, but they're picking up points. It's a different, they speak differently about them. That is in context, and let's put it back into context. When you're talking about a good team that are challenging for a title, not a team like us who blow hot and cold every week.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I'm
right.
not saying it. Can I just want to say, I'm not saying it from a delusional point of view. I'm saying it from my own eyes. What I'm watching on the pitch, it's from my own opinion. It's
Yeah,
not
we
a
get your opinion.
delusional
You said that
opinion.
3 times. We get that. It's your opinion, but my
Yeah,
opinion is
I am not.
taken out of
I'm.
context.
It's not. I'm saying it's from a delusion. It's not. I'm saying it from what I'm seeing
Mm.
as a fan. So it's not a delusional. I'm not making it from a delusional point of view. I'm making it from what I've seen and how I've taken the first 7 games out of. That's the only point.
To
Yeah,
quickly touch on what Rain said, as far as the level of competition, and I agree with you, right? When we play better teams, they're more open. We might have more joy. However, when you look at all the chances that we're giving up, the only reason why we haven't conceded more is the teams that we play, they lack quality up front. Again, Bournemouth should have scored 6. Leeds should have scored. Every team, for some reason, has joy against us. So those better teams, I mean, let's be honest, we beat City every year, and we beat them when they were struggling. But a better team, even though, yes, they might be wide open, a better team is going to have better quality up front than we do. So my money would be on them scoring more than us.
I love how universally blasé we are about beating Man City regularly.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
we have a bogey team, man. Who cares about City?
Honestly, we
so
could
Rain, the chances are there.
10 games on the bounce, and we get Man City and we beat them.
Yeah, we
so I'm
beat
saying,
them.
we're giving up a lot of chances, and against better teams, those teams will put away those chances. Whereas, we might not be able to, given just who plays for us up front. So, in theory, Rain, yes, that was the case last season, and before. But this season, I'm just concerned that we're still giving up a lot of chances, and better teams are going to put them away.
You know what? This is the reason I don't go on a lot of shows these days. Now, I've been to the pub 3 times to see Man City, West Ham, and Leeds. I've left the pub feeling really great because we've won all 3 games. I think the positives far outweigh the negatives. Let's look at it. We've been 2-0 down twice and 1-0 down. We've come back and we haven't lost any of those games. The one game we have lost was Bournemouth. We're awful. I admit that. Bournemouth outplayed us that game. Yes, there are things we have to improve. But, I'm happy with the start of the season. I'm happy we've won these games. I come on these shows and everyone's going, oh, no, we've won all these games and we got to improve. And, it's so bad. It's so terrible. Oh.
But I think the point to that
No, Brad, it's not. We're not saying
I love you guys, but it
no,
drives
guys.
me mad.
No, but Brad.
No, Brad. We're not. Sorry.
No. I understand the point Brad is making. But I think you also need to understand this, though, Brad. We were here under Postecoglou, 10 games unbeaten. Fans were happy clapping.
Yeah,
it fell off. We were here under
that.
Conte. We started well, things fell off. We started well under Jose, things fell off. We started well under Nuno, things fell off. So you don't blame fans for sitting here and questioning, well, is this sustainable? That's what the whole talking point is at the end of the day. Is this sustainable? And when you look at it, there's points where you look at and go, okay, going forward, not sustainable. It's a point I made last year under Ange Postecoglou. I'm not going to change my opinion all of a sudden because we're putting points on the board. You look at the start we've had to the season and the teams we've been given. They've been easy. The likes of Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Arsenal, they've all played each other. They've already, played each other a couple of times, and I think they're like, to your point, there's improvements. There's also negatives, but at the end of the day, this is what these channels are about, for discussions. If people are having concerns, people can come on and air them. If people think them concerns are not necessary and think, things are going well, people can come on and air them. At the end of the day, this is one big misconception. These channels aren't here to happy clap one way or be negative the other way. These channels are here for people to have discussions around the football club that they love. And if they don't see things rosy, that's up to them. But if they see things rosy, that's up to them. But it's nonsense that, we have to see things one way. It doesn't wash with me. At the end of the day, these channels are here for discussions around the football club.
This is my point. I'm happy with the start, but I know there are improvements to make. I know that. I know that we've got to improve. I'll tell you one thing about Tottenham at the moment. I used to dread going to the Emirates, to Anfield and Stamford Bridge. I feel a lot more better about going to those grounds now under Thomas Frank. I really do. And I think we can maybe get results there. So let's see if we can get results. But I just think that there is work to be done. Of course there is, but it's I think we can be cautiously optimistic. That's what I'm saying. Rather than say, and look, if I'm misinterpreting this, fine. Fair enough. But it just seems that we just seem to want to find reasons for us not, we're in a false position at the top of the table.
It's the expectations, Brad, right? Like, if we're a mid-table team, then great, we're getting results. But if most of us are expecting, or at least think we should be in the top 5 battle, then that's not the thing. Again, I'm happy with the results, but if I'm looking in the future, and if I want to be in the top 5 race, saying the way we play, I don't see how we're going to get there. And that's the only reason why I'm being negative, right? Again, I'm super happy with the results. If we improve, that's great. But if we're going to keep going the way we're going, I just don't see us finishing top 5. And that's where I think we should be. That's why, I guess, that's why.
I personally, at the start of the season, would have predicted mid-table myself, because there's a new manager, and I tend to always do that anyway.
It's expectations. It just depends.
And now, after the start, I think possibly top 6. I'm not even going to say we're going to be near top 4, possibly top 6, based on what I've seen of other teams, based on what I've seen of Tottenham. There's not many teams out there that we couldn't beat on our day.
I mean, we're definitely missing.
Taylor.
Yeah, we're definitely missing some better players, right? And I can think of one in particular who we can absolutely do with, right now. We're missing a striker. We had a little burst. We had that little burst from Richie at the start, and then OG has had to step up to fill the gap, and we're desperate. We're desperate for the medical team to screw Kolo Muani's leg back on, or glue it on, or whatever it is they need to do, and get him out on the pitch, so that we've got a focal point, to finish off some of the good work that I think we do. I think Kudus does good work. Xavi, I was just so happy that he got that Frank had the guts to play Xavi in the 10 against Leeds, away to Leeds. I couldn't believe it. And we just need, I think, to Eugene's point, what we need is better players in key positions to actually take us on to the next level.
And then that goes on to the recruitment department to get that right in January. I would like to ask you a question, Dave and Jack, if I can. If you look at last season to the teams we played at the start of this season, what's the one thing you think has been an improvement from last season to this season? If you can put one thing, you can put it into one word, and probably the rest of the panel as well. What's the one thing you've seen an improvement in from the teams we played, like the teams like Burnley and teams like that, where we were losing against teams like that last season to this season? What's the most one important thing you think you can say that's an improvement?
In one word, winning.
Yeah.
We didn't lose against Wolves. Last season we lost at home against Leicester and Ipswich.
Yeah.
We didn't lose against Wolves, so bottom.
I think one word would be we're not losing. That's the thing. We're coming back. We're getting draws. We're not losing. The only game we lost is Bournemouth. So that's the only good thing we can say.
I think the two main things that are positives, in general, is the fact that we're not allowing as much shots on our goal this year, which means we're conceding less goals because of it, which gives us a chance to get results. Frank obviously realizes we're not a great team from open play, so he's gone about making us good at set pieces, which gives us a chance of nicking goals. However, how sustainable is that in the long run? If we're talking about, trying to qualify through, into Europe through the league, we are going to have to learn to rip teams apart from open play and score goals from open play. But I just want to take this as well from Paul Mark. He says, I'm sick of this agenda by numpties against Bentancur and Vicario. They both deserve our support, not a bunch of moaning, clueless numpties. Well, look, what I will say, Paul Mark, is I agree with you on Bentancur. I do take Eugene's point, once we do sort out the left wing, once we do sort out maybe the striker, I think then the likes of Vicario, his limitations, maybe Bentancur's limitations to a degree, maybe start becoming a bit more of a highlight or a talking point because we don't have as much moaning to do and stuff like that. When it comes to Vicario, though, I do think it is a fair, open discussion on Vicario. Look, I was one, up until this season and even up to points of this season, I was defending the guy. But I defended him for that mistake against Wolves, but he's just continued to make errors since then. And it's hard for me to keep sort of going out and batting for the guy. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to show me on the pitch, you know, that you deserve that backing. So I do think the Vicario one is fair, although I do take Jerome's points. You know, when he's on form, he is a very good sort of shot stopper. And in general, I think that does get missed when people are quick to go at Vicario. But there you are, Paul Markey. But look, you know, I'm surprised your super chat isn't about Brennan Johnson today. Paul Markey, you know, usually you're one to go after him.
When people say that, like, they deserve our support, like that, actually, that's my kind of pet peeve. That gets to me.
That's constructive
criticizing a player
criticism.
or questioning a manager or a player doesn't mean I don't support them. I support every Spurs player and every Spurs manager. When I question them, right, those are two different things. We should be able to support while also being able to question. So
Yeah, but you need to have like constructive criticism, Eugene. In every single fan needs to have constructive criticism towards a team, right? It's like we can't just go everything is rosy.
But
okay, it's like we can't just be like, oh, everything is fine. We are fans. We just need to go and say everything's okay. We support that team no matter what happens. It's like if the player is not having a good time on the field, he's not having a great performance, we have to point it out. As fans, we will point it out. It's not that we're not supporting the team. We're just putting constructive criticism towards what needs to improve. So
I've been on.
Yeah, we're not all numpties.
Yeah, I've been on the terraces of non-league clubs. That was the first club. This club I grew up with was a non-league club, and there was lots of colourful criticism. In fact, actually, I grew up in. This was in the 70s and 80s. There was actually quite a lot of race, and there was actually quite a lot of really awful criticism. But there's a lot of cover. My first season ticket was actually with Leicester, where I went to university. And there was always criticism coming from the I have never been on a terrace or a stand in a stadium where fans have not had criticism of the players in their team. Never.
Fans will always have a moment. That's just the reality of it. However, you know, where I do agree with Brad, it is important, I suppose, you know, to not lose sight and sit there and just go everything is shit and stuff like that. There are some positives, and I suppose, you know, in fairness, it is probably right to highlight them as well. But I like to think, you know, that's why I like to think myself and Jack are fair. We have no problem sitting there, you know, saying what's bad, but also what's good. But look, we will look to wrap it up, you know, and let everyone get away with their evenings and stuff like that. Yeah, just let me finish one second, Darren. Just let me finish one minute. Yeah, thanks. You know, but, you know, we will wrap it up. We'll go around to everybody. We'll let everybody, you know, have a final say, and then we will call it an evening. Down to you, Darmo.
I just wanted to say this is one of the few channels. I was just going to pay you both a compliment. This is one of the few channels where you can come on and have different of views, and you're allowed to have them. You're allowed to have different views, and it's allowed, and you're allowed to have debates, and it turns into great debates, great YouTube as well. So I just wanted to big up you guys for allowing that and have it and letting you grow a channel where you can come on and have different of opinions, but allowing it to and doing it in the right way. You're not doing it in a negative way. You're doing it in a positive way. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, I apologize. I was rude to me, but I just wanted to big up you guys up on that.
And have a laugh while we're doing it, Dermot.
Yeah, and have a laugh while you're doing it.
Yeah. Try to, unless it's a horrible 90 minutes. I find it hard to laugh during that 90 minutes.
You're just comical then, Dave.
After that.
I still think the best one was when away to Newcastle when we were losing 5-0, and all he kept saying to Jack was, end the stream now, end the stream now. It was the most funniest bit of
usually they're laughing at us.
To be fair, that's why the post-match reaction works, that I ask Jack the questions, because I have time to you know, calm down a little and gather my thoughts and actually answer them properly rather than just.
I have to say, it was the most funniest bit of YouTube I've watched ever. It's like Dave losing his shit. There's Jack, as calm as a cucumber, right? Cool as anything, like a cool man, right? Sitting there.
I don't think I was cool in the 5-0.
You were cool than Dave. Dave's like, and the stream now. And Dave's the most funniest bit of YouTube.
Me and Jack went in different ways. Jack will just go silent, you know, and just be like, I can't believe I'm watching this shit.
Yeah.
I have to be more vocal. I don't know why. It just probably helps me feel a bit better, I suppose. Not everybody has, but me. But look, guys, we'll end it there. Make sure you get across, check out Dermo's channel. The description is here in the link. He's on the march to 3K. I was on there with Dermo for an hour yesterday, so if you haven't, go and check that out. We talked all things about Irish football and Tottenham Hotspur, so make sure you get over and check that out. I want to say a massive thank you as well to Mia, who's not with us right now, but she was on earlier. Really appreciate you giving up the time. Same as Brad, Jerome, Rain, Eugene, and Rhino as well. Really appreciate you all giving up your time to come on and have these discussions, because at the end of the day, you know, these shows wouldn't happen without you guys. So really do appreciate it. Make sure you keep coming back and talking Tottenham with us. Is there anything anyone else wants to say before we end off?
Yeah, there's actually two things I wanted to well, one was more of a question, one was more of an opinion. So, you know, if we beat Newcastle, Dermo, in the next round, we go through to the quarters, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That means it's watch a long time for me on my channel then at that point. But no, seriously, what does everyone think about these games that are being played, that are going out to Perth? Just quickly. Oh, shit. Sorry, I've got a spider in here and I'm not liking it. Sorry.
We've got spider watch now.
It's probably this big.
We're going to end it there. It's chaos now.
Yeah, it's chaos.
Yeah, guys. We'll see you all back here. Planning on trying to put something out tomorrow. Hopefully, you know, we do. Yeah, we'll see you back here. Enjoy your evening.
Okay. Come on, you Spurs. Spiders out. Frank in.